everybody. First of the evening. It is really late. I was debating on not streaming, but I couldn't quite sleep yet. So, um, I really intend for this to be like 20 minutes because I work all day today. And I'm really excited about it. In fact, I'm having a hard time sleeping because I'm so excited. So, I'm gonna read us a little bedtime story. But before I do that, I have to roll the ads, obviously. So, let's get that out of the way and then we'll be right back to it. Okay. So excited. Thanks for tuning in. I am having a bad hair day. It's fine. I started to get ready for the stream and then I thought, meh, I'm not really gonna stream tonight. And then I thought, meh, I'm already ready. Now I'm like, eh, no, you weren't. It's all right. Not every day is gonna be perfect. That's kind of like the reality of living with PMDD. Even though I had a really good couple weeks, 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock there. I had a good couple weeks rather than my typical absolute horror of dysphoria for up to 14 days. That was actually cool and manageable this month because of a lot of different radical treatments that I've been doing, especially shout out to these enchanted beef liver pills. Amazing. Thank you to the cow who made them 444. Um, I taste it every single time. It's been incredible to have like a good dose of vitamins from a healthy source. That's made a huge difference among other things. In addition, once more to smoking weed. literally keeps me sane through my PNP. I don't know what I would do without it. So people who judge me for smoking weed and stuff really blow my mind because it's like you prefer when I am just out of my fucking, not even out of my mind, out of my body. You'd rather me be pumped full of rage or crying than just getting stoned all day when I'm bleeding out of my. Okay. It's fine. You can feel the way you feel, and I'll feel the way I feel. That's. I am very grateful. I'm hoping this will pass. I may not be back tomorrow. I might have much going on this week. Not really fucking know. Um, because I think sometimes there's so much going on in life, but I hardly address any of it. You know what I mean? And who doesn't? Isn't that the fun of what we do here as human beings? If we had to constantly address all of the difficult or horrible things that go on in the world, we would have state angels. Yes, us being human is our God given right. Come on this earth and to forget a while, because when you die, a lot of your problems stay with you or whoever you leave behind, right? Not to be so dark. I'm not really sure why that came up. Somebody's curious about that, or maybe curious of my opinion on how that might work. Always get your affairs as in order as you can. And always, always, always live life to the fullest. It's the only lesson there has ever been. Because what full is going to be different to everybody, wouldn't you say? Yes. Say yes. So I'm packing up this bowl and I'm going to tell you all a very sweet story. And while I was doing the ad, I thought of this Leonard Cohen song. It wasn't Suzanne, but now all I can think about is Suzanne. It was, it must have been Chelsea Hotel. I don't know that one as much. Now I just think it's just. Then takes your hand to a place by the river. You can hear the boats go by. You can spend the night beside her. And you know that she's half crazy. But that's why you wanna be there. And she'll feed you tea and oranges that come all the way from China. And I don't know. You think maybe you love her, but you have no love to give her. And just when you mean to tell her. Oh wait, I have it backwards. I was singing something. Saying something. Like a stone. And you wanna travel with her. And you want to travel blind. And you think maybe you'll trust her, for she's touched your perfect body with her mind. Oh, literally, Leonard Cohen is so beautiful. And Jesus was a sailor who walked on the water. Hey, I was just talking about poets, and then here he comes, Mr. Weird himself. Hello. Okay. Leonard Cohen, do you listen to him at all? I think, especially when it comes to delivery that we spoke about and the way that you've mixed some of your stuff, I think that he could be very inspirational to you as a poet, if not as a writer. Gosh, that's beautiful. Sorry, you're probably going. You probably just streamed, no? Appreciate you when you pop in. I know I've been starting really late lately, but I also need to go to bed really soon. I was hoping that this wouldn't be more than 20 minutes, and I was just going to read to you. I was only singing because I was packing up this bowl just so I had it on me because Leonard Cohen? Oh my gosh, he's just like he's a poet. I just saw a comic book this past week. I went to Barnes and Noble. There's a comic book that was about Leonard Cohen. It was adorable. Oh my god, on this dummy me, shit, fuck. How am I gonna touch this book now? Okay, Fuck. Oh, I'm surprised by that actually. That's great. I've been reading poetry my whole life, so I'm comes with ease. Lifelong thing. Hey everybody. I'm gonna actually read a book, not tarot. I had to take a break from the tarot. God demanded it, and then the spirits were sent to make it happen. Um, I was talking to Ralph Steadman when the stream went out, and that's when I was like, I'm not doing this anymore until I get my connection figured out. And then the next time I streamed, I didn't do tarot, and the connection was fine. So it's like, okay, God has spoken. Yeah, I'm taking a break from tarot on live. But you can always book a reading. You can always book a personal reading. I'm allowed to do tarot readings, but I cannot do them for free on this channel anymore. No, they took that away from all of us because I liked doing it. It was fun. But it got dry, and they warned us that this year was going to be different, and that's one of the many ways in which it's different. So, no, you don't get to just check in and tune in with me whenever you want to, 11:11, or know what's going on in my life or anybody else's life via my channel anymore, right? No more free rides. So tonight and many nights we're talking. People tend to tell me they prefer when I'm just talking to doing tarot anyways. But because this is a short stream and I need to go to sleep, I wanted to do a little bedtime story. I never read this book. Technically, I never read this book. Thank you. And I've had it before, and I've looked through it many times with many people, and I've known about it, and I love it, and I've spoken with Ram Dass posthumously in the necromancy way, obviously, because that's how I speak to these people at all, right? I don't know most of them when they're living, but maybe most of you are familiar with this. You hear now? It's so iconic. It's literally like I remember being 17 at, I feel like I was at Rothbury the first time I saw this book. It was so corny of whoever brought it, but like, how could you not? You know, sometimes you need something to trade. So it is very cliche, but I was at Barnes and Nobles, like I just was saying, and oh, that's okay. I figured, hell yeah, I packed mine too. I'll cheers you up right now, brother. Brother. I usually say brethren and it just came out brother, so I don't know if that's you or what, but cheers. Weed helps keep my PMDD in check. Does not help my hair though, man. It's been a mess. Because I don't want anything in it. I don't want anything on it. I don't want it up. I don't want it down. I just want to be like holding it like this the whole fucking time for no reason. Um, just because it's like me stimulating and also me getting my hair out of the way. It's like the PMDD reality. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. Weird. Good luck with the poetry, and like I said, listen to some Leonard Cohen. I think you'll like him. Sweet dreams. So if you're sticking around once more, it's with was on there. I'm taking a break from doing tarot readings. Hey, there's my boy. Did you like the recordings? I didn't mean to put you on the spot by asking. We just didn't message that much. I don't know if you listened to it. I sang like 3.5 minutes of one line. I didn't know what you wanted though. And then I freestyled a little bit just as a personal message, personal anecdote for you at the end. um, I hope it's something you imagined. Oh, that's okay. I'm going to sleep soon. I came out here to tell stories and go to sleep. Um, I work all day today, and I'm excited. I love when I get the chance to work in the shop. You know, it's been a minute, so I'm looking forward to it. But I wanted to get sleep, but therefore I have to be exhausted in 420 to be able to sleep. So I was like, "Fuck, I might as well stream and get some of this out of me, so that I don't have like all these crazy thoughts going on in my head." Um, so I'm like super excited to go play with crystals today. But first, let's just do a quick bedtime story. So this is what I was just talking about. I think the first time I saw it, I was probably literally at Rothbury when I was 17, hanging out with a bunch of hippies, and one of them was looking through this and passing around, and I just saw one page, and someone said I could look through it more, and I just decided not to. You know, you'll have to come someday. We'll figure something out. You know, I'd love that. Um, but I was at Well, okay, so then I had this book in my possession a few years ago. It was probably like 2000, must have been like 2014. I was on the road by myself, just me and my Nissan Altima with Jerbia, the stuffed 5-inch Gary Bear that I had. And we were traveling. I was visiting some friends in Colorado, and I traded one of my photo book I made. It was like a demand to print order book, like my poetry book that I have, but it was just pictures, no poetry. Yeah. So I traded it for this book, but then I went to a few other places between here and there, but I was in Memphis and I traded it again for a singing bowl. So even when I had it, I let it go and give it to someone else. And I never read it. I love that. Yeah, exactly. I wanted the singing bowl. Like I never had a singing bowl in this book. I wasn't really into Ram Dass at the time. He was still alive too. Like Ram Dass died in 2019. So it just didn't feel imperative to me. I wasn't really well versed in necromancy and talking to deceased people anyways. But it's just one of those things, you know. It I knew that I don't know, whoever wanted it so much more than me. Cheers, I'm sorry. It's the PMDD. Um this book gets passed through many hands. Yes, I think that's its point. And so, darling dearly, I was at Barnes and Noble and I wanted to pick up books. And honestly, probably not in the budget to buy books when I struggle to read. I think that if I was an avid reader and I wanted to buy books, it would easily be in the finances. But at the same time, I'm not that good at reading. My attention span's not great. I grew up a reader. I used to read, like, I was reading way too serious of books, way too high a reading level when I was like really young. Stupid amounts of books my whole life. And then I read one during a really traumatic time in my life, and it was so fucking beautiful. I didn't intend to vow to never read a book again, but I knew no book would ever feel the same way. Yeah? It was like the last time I was ever going to escape my reality in a book. Because reality was starkly in front of me at that point, and I knew that I had become a writer. And ever since then, which was 11 years ago now, almost to the damn day, if I really think about it, holy fucking actually might have been to the day because I took probably a month to read that book, month and a half. Hi, baby. Dom fucking rocks, you guys. He's putting out an album every month, and it's all really good music. So you should listen to Dom Rocks on all platforms. I think you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, Dom. His music fucks, and he rocks. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For the hood of the sideboard. Yeah, because somebody just told me I was like certifiably insane right before I started my stream, and I was like, "You really think that I'm crazy?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, I know you are." And I'm like, "Cool, brethren, brotherhood of the psych ward, right, Tom? Docs, yeah, okay." So, anyways, back to the um. So I read this book 11 years ago, and once more knew I was never going to escape my reality using that method ever again. Bubble bursted, right? So now I kind of struggle. Hell yeah, dude, that shit fucks. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. I love this so much. I love how different your styles are when it comes to music and also your processes and the way that you work. Dom, I think you work like me, but more efficiently, where you do things fast and quickly, a lot of it. And me too, but I don't edit. And Poily Boy, you've got the patience. Like I do some long, like if I do something, I think about it for a long time before I do it. You work on it meticulously to the point that I never probably would. Um, it was cool, Dom. We were talking about music the other night. I think you were not here for that, were you? Sorry if that's random. I was trying to tell bedtime stories. Don't get me distracted. I gotta go. I wanted this to be a 20-minute stream. I'm already fucking my life up, so I need to go sleep. Yeah. Yeah, you're taking. I'm just taking my time, moving on. Okay, so this book was at Barnes and Noble, and I saw it, and there was a bunch of copies. It's not like it's super special. They printed enough. They carry at Barnes and Noble, but it's just something so special to come across that even though I bought two, well, I had one other book picked out that I absolutely needed to buy, Girl in a Band by Kim Gordon. I didn't even realize that she's fucking 70. She's so badass. I cannot believe she's 70 already. Um, but also she's a Taurus. Looked her up today, April 28th. I was like, oh my god, I love Kim Gordon. It's so that's why her music is so good to me, I think. It's so hardcore. Sonic Youth is amazing. I have to explore more of her like other side projects, but that was the book that I wanted. This was the book that I needed. Yeah, dude, Sonic Youth is so insanely good. Like I've always been into the Flaming Lips, but when I listened to Sonic Youth, I didn't realize that they predated them, and I was like, not embarrassed, but I definitely just changed some things, like changed some perspective for me to hear Sonic Youth's early stuff, like their debut. When their debut EP was just self-titled, right? 81. I was like, whoa, God, she's genius. I love her so much. Taurus energy, totally fire. Fucking love it. Cool things in it for you. Never been tatted? Oh. I love that tattooing is your motivation. You're such a Virgo, I feel like. It's the most Virgo thing. Um, okay. Yeah. Um, dude, yeah, I was kind of on the same tip for a second. And Sonic Youth helped me get out of it. And then I saw Kim with like three different books that were by or about Kim Gordon, and I was like, heard, I need this one. It's the one she wrote. It was the most 222. It's the cheapest one. She had like there was some really cool books, but I was like, no. So then I saw this. And you know what's so cute is because I'm that guy too, is the price is always 1717 US and 2323 Canadian. And y'all know we fuck with angel numbers. And that's why it's like I don't care if it's at Barnes and Noble. Some teenage kid who didn't find this on the internet before they went to the bookstore gets to come across this and have their whole life change and shift their entire perspective without even knowing it just because it caught their eye and they thought, "Oh wow, angel numbers, right?" I love that about this experience. I love that about this experience. So, personally, I think I bought it to give it as a gift, but because I've never read it, I think that I should read it before I gift it. Even if that, well, I mean, that's the point. It's just, it's not really a gift, but to be passed on. It's not meant to be bought and given to someone. Well, I still have to give it. I think that's, again, look at it. It's what's meant. It's just what's meant. So I'll read the whole thing and then I will give it to somebody. So it's not a gift, but it's to be given. I feel like we had this conversation about stream where I gave that advice to somebody, but it wasn't, I don't think it was about a book. Hmm. Why is water falling out of my mouth? Twice. I've been drinking out of this cup for like probably too many days. I should get rid of it. Why is the water falling out of my mouth? Anyways, so remember, be here now. This is Ram Dass, everyone. And I'm gonna read it cover to cover for you all. It's not, it's water. I'm so dehydrated on my period. I'm stoned as fuck. I had to eat an edible to get out of bed today, straight up. I was like, my legs ain't working. And then I thought about some bitches. And I got so mad I jumped up out of bed and did a whole bunch of my chores. And I fucking ran that track to you. Midday, I was just like, fuck it. I did one take with the window open, one take with the window shut. And when I say one take, I mean a variety range of emotions of the same line over and over again twice. That's why it's 3.5 minutes. And then at the end, I was just like ranting. So it's gonna be fun. You're gonna love it. You can use any of it for whatever the fuck you want, really. Um, it's me. You know that. Yeah. You always know when to say. So, it was really fun, but I got everything done and then I was like, I have to lay down and take a nap. And then I woke up and just was profusely bleeding after that. I was like, okay, I guess this is my day now. And I relaxed, and got to have like a nice time talking to one person, right? Live. Wow. Instead of just like this antisocial etiquette that we have going for Insomnia Anonymous. It was very endearing to me. Meant a lot. And now this bedtime, gonna go very soon. Clock already later than I want. And pretty tired, like I said. I'm surprised I did so much this morning, and then it was like, yeah, no. So we're gonna be here now to bits. It's since we're taking a break from tarot, it might just be my go-to move a few times this week. I don't know. I could also probably do it from any location, which is kind of a fun thought too. So if we just want to break into story time at any point, I can always just read to you. So we're gonna start with the cover. Remember, be here now. Remember, be here now. Remember, be here now. Remember, it actually, look, it's like, be here now. Here, be now. Be now here. Now be here. Now be here. Now be here. Now here be. Now be now. Here now be here. Now be here. Now be here. Now be here now. It's so fun, right? Remember, remember, remember. It's very gorgeous. It's very beautiful, isn't it? Here, we're doing this for us. Ram Dass was an Aries. His birthday's April 6th, I believe. I love him since he's deceased. I didn't pay too much attention in his lifetime, but I've talked to him enough times since then that he's come around. He's told me he sees what I see, yes? I love him. Who's this? Is Man something can't remember his name. Manguti? Mangudti or something like that. I don't know where I can't remember. I did an art show for Ram Dass, like a digital art show with Ram Dass. No, that's cute. I love that. Can't remember his name. Hanuman. Might be Hanuman. Okay. This is made in love for love. Any portion of this may be reprinted to ring the bell of the Dharma, but only with the prior written permission of Hanuman. Mama Foundation, 1971, Year of the Earth Monkey, Box 240, San Cristobal, New Mexico, 87564. First printing through 43rd printing, 962,824 copies. Hanuman Foundation, 1978, 82nd printing. Printed in the United States of America, distributed by the Crown Publishing Group, New York, New York. How endearing. I'm telling you, I'm reading it to bits. I've never read this. This is a sacred moment. I'm sharing it out with all of you. I'm excited for you. Contents 1. Journey, the transformation. Dr. Richard Alpert, PhD, into Baba Ram Das. 2. From Bindu to Ohas, the core book. 3. Cookbook for a Sacred Life, a manual for conscious being. 4. Painted Cakes, books. Painted cakes. Painted cakes. Yes, please. Cost distribution. Wholesaler 89 cents. Distributor $1.53. Llama Foundation 31 cents. Hunaman Foundation 31 cents. Retailer $3.58. Manufacturer $2.26. That doesn't seem to add up to $17, does it? This must be from the 70s. I don't know. Hanuman Foundation, a current note. Be Here Now was originally distributed in pamphlet form by Lama Foundation and was subsequently published by Lama Foundation as this book, more than 928,300 copies of which have been distributed by Crown Publishers to date. In the summer of 1977, Lama Foundation decided to give the copyright and half the proceeds from Be Here Now to Hanuman Foundation to further distribute the energy generated by the book through the projects of the Hunaman Foundation. For this generous sacrifice and gesture of faith, Hanuman Foundation would like to thank Lama Foundation. Hanuman Foundation, instigated by Ram Dass, was incorporated in California in 1974 as a tax-exempt nonprofit corporation to promulgate spiritual well-being among members of society as a whole through education and service, by spiritual training, and by publications and recordings, and to promote the studies of practice and teachings of spiritual knowledge. A newsletter and catalog are sent semi-annually describing the activities of Hanuman Foundation, which includes the Prison Ashram Project, Dying Project, Hanuman Safe Library, Ram Dass lecture tours and retreats, and other tentative projects. If you would like to receive the newsletter, please include a first class stamp with your name and address to the Hanuman Foundation, Box 203, 524, San Anselmo Avenue, San Anselmo, California, 94960. Hi, Hanuman. I love this already. This is like a little introduction of what the fuck this is. I love that. We're not going to get too far tonight, but this is how we're going to stay busy while I'm not allowed to do tarot. Journey, the transformation. Dr. Richard Alpert, PhD, into Baba Ram Das. Yeah, so if you didn't know, Dr. Richard Albert, PhD, is Baba Ram Das. Everyone has roots. Timothy Leary was some Harvard psychologist before he was some weirdo cult leader. Ram Dass was apparently a PhD. I thought he was a lawyer for some reason. Maybe both. Gandhi was a fucking sick SS doctor who did weird experiments on children and was a lawyer before he was, you know? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. God doesn't allow it. I don't get paid enough on Twitch to stream tarot. I still like streaming. It's a good social outlet and I still get paid somewhat, so I'm down to stream, but the streams haven't been working out since I was doing tarot. I'm not allowed to do tarot right now. You can always book a personal reading. Those are my bats. It was a bad. It didn't do good. It just doesn't look like a poo. Anyway, that's our mountain. That's not even your bed. Yes, so we're just gonna read on stream instead of read tarot. Namaste. Okay. Our story. There are 3 stages in this journey that I have been on. The first, the social science stage. The second, the psychedelic stage. And the third, the yogi stage. They are summating, that is, each contributing to the next. It's like the unfolding of a lotus flower. Now, as I look back, I realize that many of the experiences that made little sense to me at the time they occurred were prerequisites for what was to come later. I want to share with you the parts of the internal journey that never get written up in the mass media. I'm not interested in the political parts of the story. I'm not interested in what you read in the Saturday Evening Post about LSD. This is the story of what goes inside a human being who's undergoing all of these experiences. Very on brand for me. Success. In 1961, the beginning of March, I was at perhaps the highest point in my academic career. I had just returned from being a visiting professor at the University of California at Berkeley. I had been assured of a permanent post that was being held for me at Harvard if I got my publications in order. I held appointments in four departments at Harvard: the Social Relations Department, the Psychology Department, the Graduate School of Education, and the Health Service, where I was a therapist. I had research contracts with Yale and Stanford. In a worldly sense, I was making a great income and I was a collector of possessions. I had an apartment in Cambridge that was filled with antiques, and I gave very charming dinner parties. I had a Mercedes Benz sedan and a Triumph 500cc motorcycle and a Senna 172 airplane and an MG sports car and a sailboat and a bicycle. I vacationed in the Caribbean where I did scuba diving. I was living the way a successful bachelor professor is supposed to live in the American world. And there was some point as a professor at Stanford and Harvard where I experienced being caught in some kind of meaningless game in which students were exquisite at playing the role of students and the faculty were exquisite at playing the role of faculty. I would get up and say what I had read in books, and they'd all write it down and give it back as answers on exams, but nothing was happening. I felt as if it were a soundproof room. Not enough was happening that mattered. That was real. Why do I feel like I skipped an entire page? Was it just kind of like lame, or did I skip a page? If so, do we go back or do we just keep reading it? Yeah, I definitely skipped a page. Damn. Okay, we should go back. American world. I didn't think there was a period at the end of that sentence. It's so funny. Of he who makes it. I wasn't a genuine scholar, but I had gone through the whole academic trip. I had gotten my PhD, I was writing books, I had research contracts, I taught courses in human motivation. See, I feel like I just spoiled it. You know what I mean? Like we just read, like we just, yeah, we get it. Is that bad? Just skip bad. I spoiled it. Should we just keep reading? I don't want to read anymore, you guys. I'm tired. I gotta go. Oh my gosh. We don't even get to the interesting part for a while. Is that rude? No. Should we read the whole thing out loud or should we just do the fun stuff? I'm confused. Okay. Is everybody trying to fall asleep to this? Okay, so do I go back and read the page I skipped or do I pick up from where I left off? You know what I'm saying? I feel like I spoiled it. I skipped a whole page and then I read one paragraph and I feel like it seems weird to go back now. But then I feel like I'm not doing the book justice. How engaged is this? Are we bored? Are we tired? I'm just gonna mindlessly read. I'm gonna do it. My lecture notes were the ideas of other men, subtly presented, and my research was all within the zeitgeist, all that which was one supposed to research about. In 1955, I had started doing therapy. My first therapy patient had turned me on to pot. He started smoking weed in 1955. Yeah, right, literally. Um, I had not smoked regularly after that, but only sporadically, and I was still quite a heavy drinker. But this first patient had friends, and they had friends, and all of them became my patients. I became a hip therapist for the hip community at Stanford. When I'd go to parties, they'd say, "Here comes the shrink," and I would sit in the corner looking superior. In addition, I had spent 5 years in psychoanalysis at a cool investment of something like $26,000. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. Before March 6th, which was the day I took psilocybin, one of the psychedelics, I felt something was wrong in my world, but I couldn't label it in any way so as to get a hold of it. I felt that the theories I was teaching in psychology didn't make it. The psychologists didn't really have a grasp on the human condition, and that the theories I was teaching, which were the theories of achievement and anxiety and defense mechanisms and so on, weren't getting to the crux of matter. My colleagues and I were 9 to 5 psychologists. We came to work every day and we did our psychology just like you would do insurance or auto mechanics. And then at 5, we went home and we were just as neurotic as we were before we went to work. Somehow it seemed to me as if all of this theory were right. It should play more intimately into my own life. I understood the requirement of being objective for a scientist, but this is the most naive concept in social sciences, as we are finding out. And whatever the psychoanalysis did, and it did many things, I'm sure, I still was a neurotic at the end of those 5 years of psychoanalysis. Even my therapist thought so because when I stopped analysis to go to Harvard, he said, "You are too sick to leave analysis." Those were his final words. But because I had been trained in Freudian theory, I knew his game well enough to enjoy this terribly sophisticated competitive relationship with my analysis, and I would say to him, "Well, in Freud's 1906 paper, don't you recall that he said this? And when I'm saying this to you, you should be interpreting it. For this, I was paying $20 an hour." I'm glad. I figured there would be. Oh, my side hurts. The right side and not the left side? Um, Something was wrong. And the something wrong was that I just didn't know. So I kept feeling all along the way that somebody else must know, even though I didn't. The nature of life was a mystery to me. All of the stuff I was teaching was just like little molecular bits of stuff, but they didn't add up to a feeling anything like wisdom. I was getting more and more knowledgeable, and I was getting very good at bouncing three knowledgeable balls at once. I could sit in a doctoral exam, ask very sophisticated questions, and look terribly wise. It was a hustle. Dissatisfaction. Now, my predicament as a social scientist that I was not basically a scholar. It came out of a Jewish, anxiety ridden, high achieving tradition. So I had been through 5 years of psychoanalysis. Still, every time I lectured, I would get extraordinary diarrhea and tension. Lecturing 5 days a week, it made it quite a complex problem to keep my stomach operating. But whatever my motives, they drove me so hard that despite the fact that I was a very mediocre whatever student, very mediocre student, in fact, I could never get into Harvard, no matter how hard I tried, even using all of my father's political influence. I finally found myself on the faculty of the good universities. I could study 10 hours and prepare a really good lecture on Freud or human motivation, but it was all as well if I were behind a wall. It was a theoretical. I theorized this or that. I espoused these ideas, these intellectual concepts, quite apart from my own experimental base. Although I could bring all kinds of emotional zeal to bear on my presentation, there was a lack of validity in my guts about what I was doing, and to my surprise, dismay, I found that this stance was considered acceptable by most of my colleagues who seemed, in their attempts to become scientific, to think of my personality in terms of variables. Children were nothing but ambulatory variables, and no matter how hard we tried, by the time we got to we got to the legitimacy of a highly operationally defined variable, it had lost its gut feeling. So the concepts we're working with were intellectual fun and games, but they weren't affecting my life. This is good until it's not, and it is not. Here I was, sitting with the boys. I think there's a sense of pity in him, right? But it was 1950s and 60s, so I understand I wasn't there and I don't know. But it's just such a self pitying about how successful he is, but how shocking, right? I'll keep reading though. Here I was sitting with the boys, of course, of the first team in cognitive psychology, personality psychology, developmental psychology, and in the midst of this, I felt here were men and women who themselves were not highly evolved beings. Their own lives were not fulfilled. There was not enough human beauty, human fulfillment, human contentment. I worked hard, and the keys to the kingdom were handed to me. I was being promised all of it. I had felt I got into whatever the inner circle meant. I could be program chairman for Division 7 of the APA, and I could be on the government committees and have grants and travel about and sit on doctorate committees. But there was still horrible awareness that I didn't know something or other, which made it all fall together. And there was a slight panic in me that I was going to spend the next 40 years not knowing, and that apparently was par for the course. and in off hours we played Go or poker or cracked old jokes. The whole thing was too empty. It was not honest enough. And then this is the paragraph that I read earlier, I think. And there was some point as a professor at Stanford and Harvard where I experienced being caught in some kind of meaningless game where the students were exquisite at playing the role of the students and the faculty were exquisite at playing the role of the faculty. I would get up and I say what I would read in books and they'd all write it down and give it back in answers on exams, but nothing was happening. I felt as if the soundproof room, not enough was happening that mattered. That was real. As a therapist, I felt caught in the drama of my own theories. No, it's not. It's just whatever. It's like it's good to know who he was, I guess, but he just seems to be really tooting his own horn while also being like, I was so wrong for this life that I was really good at. Remember how good I was at this before I say and let it all go. A weird take, but that's who he was, and he admitted to me he was a fraud and a phony, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, I really, yeah, go anyway. As a therapist, I felt caught in the drama of my own theories. The research data showed that Rogerian patients ended up saying positive statements, and Freudian patients ended up talking about their mother because of subtle reinforcement clues. It was so obvious. I would sit with my little notebook, and when the person would start talking about his mother, I'd make a note. It didn't take long for the patient to realize he got a note taken. He got his pellet every time he said certain things, and pretty soon he would be Freudianized. In the face of this feeling of malaise, I acted more, collected more possessions, collected more appointments and positions and status, more sexual and alcoholic orgies, and more wildness in my life. I guess it just got interesting. Every time I went to a family gathering, I was the boy who made it. I was a professor at Harvard, and everybody stood in awe and listened to my every word. And all I felt was that horror that I knew inside I didn't even know. Of course, it was all such a beautiful, gentle horror because there was so much reward involved. I had an empire at a place called Center for Research and Personality, a corner office in the building I'd helped design, with two secretaries and many graduates and undergraduate research assistants. I'd done all this in about 3 years. I was really driven. Until you know a good Jewish middle class, upwardly mobile, anxiety ridden neurotic, you haven't met a real achiever. My Judaism was a political Judaism. I came out of a tradition of folk religion. The spirit escaped me somehow, although we did the Yom Kippur and Passover services. But Dad was on the board of trustees that hired and fired rabbis so that I could get into a feeling of spiritual leader if my father was hiring and firing these guys. Down the hall from my big empire, there was a little office. It had become a closet they needed as an extra office, so they cleared out the closet and put a desk in there. And in that closet was Timothy Leary. He'd been bicycling around Italy, bouncing checks, and David McClellan found him and brought him back as a creative gift to the Western science. Tim and I became drinking buddies together. Then we started to teach courses together, such as the first year clinical course, Practicum, on existential transactional behavior change. The more time I spent with Tim, the more I realized he had an absolutely extraordinary intellect. He really knew a lot. I found him extremely stimulating, and the students found him exciting to be around because of his openness to new ideas and his willingness to take wild risks in thinking. One night when we were drinking together, we plotted a trip across North and South America. And when I said I flew a plane, he said, Great, we'll fly in your plane. And I said, Wonderful, and neglected to tell him that I only had a student license. So I secretly set about getting a license in order to meet him on August 1st in Cuernavaca, Cuernavaca, Mexico, where he was summering. There we would start our journey. At the time, I was a consultant for a school mathematics study group, a mathematics program in education at Stanford. I got my license in an airplane on the same day and flew to Mexico the next day in a death defying leap. When I got there, I found that Timothy had done some other type of flying just about the week before. Frank Barron, who was a psychologist at Cal, an old friend of Tim's, had introduced him to an anthropologist in Mexico, and they had come to know about the Tayananco, the flesh of the gods, the magic mushrooms of Mexico. which one obtained about the Tionanactol, the flesh of the gods, the magic mushrooms of Mexico. Did I just read that? Which one obtained from Quasi Juana, a woman who came up from the mountains who ate the mushrooms all the time. Contact was made with her, and the mushrooms were obtained. Tim had eaten 9 of these mushrooms, so many male and so many female mushrooms, with a group of others around a swimming pool, and had a profound experience. He said, I learned more in the 6 or 7 hours of this experience than I had in all my years as a psychologist. That is a strong statement. When I arrived in Cuernavaca, Cuernavaca, the mushrooms were all gone, and so was the zeal to go on the trip across South America, because what in the sense of doing external journeying when the obviously what Timothy had been looking for was inside his own head. So I hung out in Tepeztlan with David McClelland and his family in Cuernavaca with Tim and his entourage, and then flew back to the United States with Tim and Jackie and his son, an iguana. It's whatever. Handle it for me. Thanks for the follow. So I hung out in Wait. And I went to be a visiting professor at Cal, and Tim went back to Harvard. And by the time I got back, Timothy had a large psychedelic project going. He had a consultant with Aldous Huxley, who was then visiting at MIT, and Aldous and Tim and a number of graduate students had contacted Sandoz, who produced a synthetic of the magic and a number of magic mushrooms called psilocybin, and they'd gotten a test batch of this and were busy making it and administering it. When I got back to Cambridge in the spring, I was invited to share in this bout. I love you so much, Dom. Thanks so much. I feel like that's a good place to stop because I need to go to bed and there's no more breaks. It's just pages and pages. We're gonna do this every night. Love come down. Oh, you make my love come down. You need a good bookmark though. Is it interesting so far? Do we like it? I'm gonna use this as my bookmark for the time being. It says, every hinge holds a door, every handle opens it. Bless it the fuck be. Okay, everybody, I'm gonna roll these ads and then I'm gonna go to bed. No, you can go crazy. My music doesn't sound good, and we all know that. We all know it doesn't sound good. We know it's not enjoyable. We know people don't like it. We know it's not worth investing in. We know that. I need it to sound good. Okay. There's so many things I want to say, and I know Polaroid knows exactly what I want to say because he totally fucking gets it, and I can't say anything right now. But obviously, bro, oh my god, I'm gonna send you a voice clip. I'm dying. Um, I can't right now. I can't right now. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Yeah, no, I can't wait. Literally, if you want to practice or get used to it or hear my process, you can listen to the music on my website if you haven't already. You can see how rudimentary I am. And then right now, what I'm working on is there's this 25-minute long track that I'm like trying to I started writing it today. It's going well. Well, I started writing it yesterday and I looked at it today and I was like, what in the actual hell is this? It's like I try to write music, but not by writing the notes of music, but literally drawing the way that I want it to sound with the lyrics that I want to say. Um, yeah, it's big. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you for doing it. Yeah, but I don't need it to be raw. I just am it's not even that I'm lazy. It's just a skill that it's not even refused to adapt to, but just have no desire to adapt to at this time because I have too many other things that I'm doing. Um so yeah, I just started to record at all. I'm not really jumping to edit by any means, but this week I wanted to do this. I just felt like if I didn't do it in 1 week, I'm just not going to stick to it and I'll change my mind. But so far it's I put up this like poster for myself to like draw it out because like I'm telling you the way that I do stuff, I'm a very spatial thinker. I can't just write it down. I gotta see the way it's gonna be like laid out for some reason. Um and then I have like I have 3 notebooks I think that I'm writing it in and a whiteboard with the initial idea and a 25-minute long track that I'm working with. And that's gonna be the song that I put out in the week. But then after that, maybe I'll do more. Maybe I hope to stay inspired to keep doing music, make some originals finally, especially because Dom sent me beats and is willing to fucking run back the vocals. That could really be something. We could probably make something really good. Um, and it's yeah. Well, yeah. This is gonna be really cool though. I think. But it's gonna be like too much. If you can't do it, you can't do it. We'll do something else. But yeah, so I'm trying to yeah. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool and it's gonna be good. So right now I gotta go to bed. I worked like all day today. My boobs are itchy. I need to get out of this bra. I don't know why I even said it out loud. I think it's because I keep touching them and everyone's probably like, why is she grabbing her tits right now? Acting like we don't see it. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm well aware that I'm doing it. They itch. Welcome to life with PMDD. I'm on my fucking period. My tits are huge right now, and my skin is dry. And so, what are you gonna do, right? I'm gonna rip this thing off. I gotta go. Okay. Um, thanks, you too. Sweet dreams. Love you all so much. Thanks for understanding. I know I'm so sorry for being such a goofball. I don't know when I'll be back. Maybe tomorrow. It sounds like tomorrow might be good. Sunday might be better. I don't even know. I love you all so much. I'll be back whenever. I thought about daytime streaming today, maybe painting some shoes. I'm trying to finish my shoes for the song. It's gonna be really cute if I can pull it off and get it all done. But PMDD makes everything hard. But this past couple of weeks wasn't so bad with my new treatment forms, and maybe I'll eat more nutmeg. Who knows? Either way, I'll catch y'all tomorrow or the next day or whatever. Love you so much. Thanks again. We'll be in touch. Mwah.